Oh, this side, huh?
Hi, and welcome to Policy Views, the first student media organization housed here at the Harvard Kennedy School. Today is going to be a special episode. Today's date is Thursday, May 21st. In exactly 1 week, the class of 2020 is going to be graduating with commencement on May 28th, 2020. Working with the Kennedy School Student Government with Charlene, we decided that we thought it'd be a good idea to do something a little special. This year feels very unique, and to kind of wrap things up, we thought it'd be nice to do a very special interview in honor of our classmates and our friends that are graduating this year, and for those of us watching who may not know, the Kennedy School has been entirely online for the last 8 weeks. A lot of our friends haven't seen each other, so Charlene and I thought it might be nice to solicit some pictures and videos from the class. So we're gonna have a very special interview. Charlene is our elected official, our student body president, and we thought it would be no more fitting person to kind of speak on behalf of the class to explain what we've been feeling this year than Charlene. In addition, we've taken these videos and these pictures, which we'll be sharing both throughout the interview and in a montage afterwards to kind of deal with the solemnity of the occasion and give us a chance to kind of transition from these hallowed halls to whatever else is next. So without further ado, I'm going to turn over to Charlene for our first question. So Charlene, normally we start these interviews with our baseline Policy Views question, which is who are you, what drives you, and what brings you to Harvard? But we're not going to do that today. We want to start with something a little more human. Okay. So this time feels different. There's a lot going on with coronavirus. How are you? How are you feeling? Yeah. How's your family? How are you adjusting to everything?
Things are like meh. They're fine. I'm lucky that so far no one in my family has, passed away or gotten the coronavirus. But I have seen impacts. My mom is not able to work anymore. She's a child care worker, so she's unable to work. There's definitely, we're definitely feeling, it's a weird time.
We're sitting in front of the JFK building, the John F. Kennedy building for HKS. You just completed your studies as a public policy student, and you just completed your duty as student body president. Yep. Who were you when you started, and how has that changed over the course of these 2 years and during the tumult of the coronavirus?
I can't even tell you. I guess for me, the student government position has been very personally, I have a lot of gratitude for just having the experience. The first year when I got involved with student government, I just ran to be the class representative. Honestly, getting the idea of even getting, I think it was, I just checked, I got 55 votes. That was like the most
landslide.
Yes, it was the most remarkable thing to me. I was like, I can't believe 55 people voted for me, and I think that was just that was kind of the start of it. And I guess, before coming to the Kennedy School, I was honestly at kind of a low point in my personal life. Truly, I noticed. I can actually be quite introverted, and I had been quite isolated for the last couple years of my life, and so just having gotten here, I noticed I was doing the same thing. I was like, I'm spending too much time in the library, focused on my studies. No, what I want to do,
which can be good. Yeah, it can be good.
It's a good thing, but I was like, no. The point of coming to Harvard is to make friends and to get to know people. So go out and try this class rep thing and see how that goes. And I just feel like, especially with being the president, I'm used to kind of like being like, oh, the man, and now it's like, you're that person. And so I think it was really interesting to kind of have to just deal with controversy and differing opinions, and like you couldn't make everybody happy ever. And so there were some situations in which you just have to call the shots, have to make a decision, and that was for somebody who might have not exercised as much agency in their life as they're used to doing, particularly before this. I just thought, this is like the most transformational thing for me, and I'm so grateful for it. Wow. Truly.
Well, we're so grateful that you were willing to help us this year. as we mentioned in the intro, there's been a great outpouring of love from our classmates and our graduating seniors, second years. There's been some amazing videos telling us about how they felt about this year. But before we get to those, I was hoping you could tell us anecdotally, what has COVID and this year meant to you, and what anecdotally have you heard from others or people that have supported you, or how you've supported others?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people are kind of all over the map this year. I think sometimes what I hear too is that there might be students who are really struggling, and those are the ones that I sense would probably be kind of cut off from the community the most at this time, because if you don't have great internet access, if you're kind of in a totally different time zone, I just feel like that, yeah, it can be very easy to feel cut off. But I guess what I do know, I also feel a little bit disconnected from everybody right now. It takes a lot of, this sounds lame, but it takes a lot of mental effort to like actively reach out to people, and I feel like it's really easy right now to be in our own little bubbles and do your own thing. I know I've been watching TV and like playing The Sims, and
how dare you?
Yes, very much in isolation, and I don't know, I guess it's definitely been harder not being able to see everybody's faces all the time, and just kind of like the spontaneous ways that you see people. But, you know, I definitely see that the ways that people are supporting each other. I saw one of our class rep, Brittany Malloy, there was a gathering for her birthday, and it was the sweetest thing, where classmates had put together this slideshow of like, you know, all these moments, and just people went through all the good memories that we've had. And yeah, people are still obviously coming together with community, and that does make me happy to see, very happy.
Well, talking about the community, our friends Julia, Uche, and Ramitha sent in some videos.
Okay.
Would you mind if I showed them to you right now?
Yeah, of course, please.
We're gonna watch Julia's first. Here's what Julia had to say.
My dear class of 2020, I know that this is not the graduation that we have dreamed about, but I'm sure that for us and for everyone else, we are not gonna be remembered as a class that has graduated virtually, but as the class of mutual support, solidarity, and true care, and love for each other.
I agree.
And let me now show you what Uche had to say.
Okay.
I'm so grateful for this awesome opportunity to be part of HKS class of 2020. It's been an awesome experience, and yes, we were that class who has to have a digital graduation, but it is part of our journey, and I wish everybody the very best.
Yes. Yes, I think class of 2020, I am biased, but I think we're going to be...
Gonna go down in the books.
Yes.
Let me show you Ramitha's as well.
We're living in a once-in-a-century moment, and what a privilege it is to be able to be a student in these times, to take a pause, reflect, and draw lessons that will forever be useful as we embark into this new normal of our careers and our lives. But at the same time, it's such a mixed bag of feelings. Bittersweet is what I would say. Not being able to say goodbye, not being able to give yourself closure to your time in Harvard. Regardless, I'm still honored and proud to be a Harvard graduate.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah.
I think what she's saying about the lack of closure is so true. I will say, I was talking to a friend that maybe that just means that because we didn't get the closure, that maybe that means that somehow we'll keep in better touch. I don't know if that's naive, but because I know for me personally, I very much am someone who moves on to the next phase of their life, and is like immersed in that, but tends to kind of, you know, move on from the past, for better, for worse. And I think in some ways, maybe the fact that we didn't get closure is going to be a blessing in disguise.
We've just discussed a lot of, that was really cute.
Thanks.
We've just discussed a lot of emotional and somewhat sad things.
Yeah.
Enough of the sad stuff. So many of our classmates had amazing pictures that they sent in during their time here. We had some ski pictures, pictures of formal, we had pictures of last year's graduation, we had pictures of just people hanging out with their friends.
Right.
What was your favorite memory here and your favorite experience, and what did your time at the Harvard Kennedy School mean to you?
The best memories I had was kind of the international night that we hosted.
Yeah.
I think the memory of the students, basically the Indonesian caucus, Dimas, my friend, and Jane, and some other students, they basically we were introduced to this instrument. It's a wooden instrument, and basically the whole room had...
Is it a long wooden instrument?
It was like about this big,
okay.
And then like basically the way that it works is that like you shake the instrument, right? You shake it and it basically hits a certain tone, and every instrument was tied to a certain hand gesture. So Dimas went up onto a table and he was conducting the entire room full of people with these wooden instruments, and it was just like, that was the coolest thing I have ever witnessed. And I think, man, just learning so much from the international students too, and just like, you know, opening your horizons and your perspectives, it was such an honor.
That sounds really special.
Yeah.
So we posed a question to the student body: how do you feel about graduating this year? I'm going to show you what Rami said.
Okay.
How do I feel about graduating this year? I feel fortunate. I feel appreciative of the fact that while I'm in the middle of the career shift, I'm being reminded to treasure the most important things in my life, things that I tend to take for granted: family, health, and community, to appreciate them more than a job, a title, or even a career.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's remarkable. I feel like some students are really, they're taking this in such stride and gratitude. It's pretty amazing where some students' heads are at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we posed that question to Rami and to the student body. Now I'd like to pose the same question to you, Charlene.
Yes.
Charlene, how do you feel about graduating this year?
I think I feel, obviously it was initially, it's been disappointing, just like the treks and all these things, but I think as we're coming to
the treks being canceled, you mean?
Yes, exactly. not going on the treks.
Right,
yes.
right.
There is so much that needs to be done. Like, that was always the case, and we all knew that, but it's just like more than ever. Yeah. And so I think, if anything, I'm glad that I'm no longer going to be sitting in the classroom, which I think is valuable and needed, and to just educate yourself. But now it's like, I think it's time to actually start doing things. So, yeah.
Well, on that note of start doing things, this next chapter of the interview is going to be on the path forward and going forward.
Yes.
So now that the year is over, I'd like to ask you to reflect on your term as KSSG president, and what advice would you give to the next KSSG president?
It's not going to be a typical administration, right, where things are going smoothly. Like, there's going to be controversy.
Leadership in the time of crisis. Yes, adaptive leadership is what we teach here.
You're going to take heat. Not everybody's going to be happy. And I guess you kind of just learn that you kind of have to just follow your heart and go with that, and take the criticism and think about it, and don't ignore it, of course, but it's learn to just kind of have a conviction in what it is that you first ran on in the first place.
So as a follow-up to that, we had Charlene Wang, KSSG president. When's your bid for national president? When are you coming out for the U.S. government?
I think that's highly unlikely given our political environment, but never say never.
Never say never. Okay, all right.
Yes.
But
I will say that I will admit that I think through this experience and just realizing, I'm not going to be coy about it anymore. I feel like just the gift that this class has given me is I've been thinking like I would like to run for office one day. So
wow.
It'll happen. I've made that commitment to myself. So.
Okay. Well, if I could give you a high five or a handshake, I would. Okay. Can I give you an elbow?
Yeah.
All right. You guys heard it here. Charlene 2040. There feels like there's a lot of loose ends this year. We didn't have classes for the last 8 weeks in person.
Yeah.
We haven't seen our friends. we are going to have a commencement, but it's going to be virtual. How can we tie up the loose ends, and how can people take some meaningful closure from this experience and make sense of what happened here?
Right. Oh, in my mind, I was like, maybe the point is to just not get closure, and maybe the point is, I don't know, I've been thinking, because I only have listserv access for, you know, the next, it ends Tuesday, right? That's when it moves on.
Okay.
I've been thinking, you know, what are the last things that you want to get? And I don't know, I think it would actually be kind of beautiful if all our WhatsApp groups, if they kept on going, if, you know, if all of us continue to stay in touch. I just feel like it's the, I don't know, that's the only way that we'll kind of make the most out of this, is for it to in some ways never have ended, because I mean, we didn't get that ritual, we never got it. I mean, we will in a year, so maybe that's
good.
when we'll say goodbye. But even then, I imagine that given the economic crisis, there's going to be a lot of students who can't come back to campus and you know, enjoy the fruits of their labor in that way.
So this is going to be the final question.
Okay.
You're our elected leader, so I want to pose this to you to kind of say to the class, and to any graduates for the class of 2020, whether they're at HKS, at Harvard, or around the country or the world, how do we go forward? What is the path forward? Not an easy question.
Yeah. Let's see, the path forward. I mean, everybody's path is obviously going to be very different, but I will say that as for Harvard graduates in particular, I think we touched upon just like the privileges of going to Harvard and what that means. And I mean, we should, you know, I feel like we often say privilege is a bad thing, and I mean, it can be, but I also think that it means that we have this platform, and it means that people will listen to us by the default of our diploma. And I just hope that we can use it and we give back. And I know that if anything right now, it's so hard not to kind of be selfish, because we're all kind of trying to protect ourselves and our families and, you know, put food on the table and all that. But I'm hoping that we realize that in the grander scope of things, that as Harvard students, as much as we're struggling, that at the end of the day, we are the new elite, and that we use that wisely and serve others in the months coming ahead. And then for students at large, yeah, I don't know. Good luck. We're gonna go out there, and I don't know. I feel like our generation, like, I don't know. I am not super happy with the. I will just say that, like, this election. Let's just say I feel like it's time for some generational change, and I am excited to see what this class does, because I think all the pressure that we're under is only going to produce, you know, people who are hopefully going to be fighting for the best.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Policy Views. On a personal note, I'm going to be graduating, and this is my last interview. Policy Views will continue next year under new leadership. It's been an amazing journey here at Harvard. I'm going to miss Harvard. I'm going to miss the Kennedy School. It's been some of the best times of my life, and I wish everyone the best. Thank you.
Thank you. That was so awkward. Okay.
Thanks.
No, wait, we can't do that. All right. All right. Good job, man.
Thanks, Charlene.
Yeah.
Watching through our fingers, watching through our fingers. Shuts my eyes and count to 10. It goes in one ear out the other, one ear out the other. Burning bright right till the end. Now you'll be missing from the photographs, missing from the photographs. Watching through our fingers, watching through our fingers. In my thoughts you're far away, and you are whistling a melody, whistling a melody, crystallizing. easily, picture you so easily. What's gonna be left of the world if you're not in it? What's gonna be left of the world? Oh, every minute and every hour, I miss you, I miss you, I miss you more. Every stumble and each misfire, I miss you, I miss you, I miss you more. Watching through my fingers, watching through my fingers. Caught off guard by your favorite song. I've been dancing at a funeral, dancing at a funeral, sleeping in the clothes you love. It's such a shame we have to see them, shame we have to see them. What's gonna be left of the world if you're not in it? What's gonna be left of the world? Oh, every minute and every hour, I miss you, I miss you, I miss you more. Every stumble and each misfire, I miss you, I miss you, I miss you more.
Can we be a party animal? I had to learn to live in the jungle.
Hello everyone, this is a very emotional day for me. I always dreamt of graduating from Harvard Yard, but it's like this is a bitter sweet memory as we are graduating and doing a virtual commencement. And I'm hopeful like in future when it's a stronger world we will be able to do in person. I'm grateful to be part of this program and Harvard University. Thank you everyone and good luck.
Me in my place, pick me up off the floor. Put me in my place, put me in my place. Every minute and every hour, I miss you, I miss you, I miss you more. Every stumble and each misfire, I miss you, I miss you, I miss you more. Watching through my fingers, watching through my fingers. 'Cause every minute and every hour, I miss you, I miss you, I miss you more. Can I pass away? Can I pass away? Can I look at faces that I meet? Can I get my punk ass off the street? I've been living on for so long.
Hi everyone, my name is Bernice Boca. I'm graduating this year with an MD from Emory University and an MPP from the Kennedy School. How I feel about graduating this year is a lot of things, particularly my fields. You know, on the one end, I feel like it's really hard to see how many people are suffering, struggling. It's killing my soul to see the health disparities and the ways that poor communities, Black and brown communities, insecurely housed communities are being disproportionately affected by this pandemic. At the same time, I will say it's giving me a lot of purpose for the things that I studied, because that's precisely what brought me into medicine and then further drove me to supplement my education by getting the policy degree, is the ways that these two issues dovetail, and this pandemic is highlighting those things exactly. So, you know, I think this is a really uncertain time, really precarious time to be entering the workforce, particularly the physician workforce and the physician activist, physician advocate, physician policymaker workforce. At the same time, there could not be a more relevant time to be entering. So I'm wading through a mix of all of those emotions. Overall, I'm really grateful for my experience. I'm grateful for everybody that I've met, everybody that pushed me to be better, and has enriched my knowledge base. And I look forward to applying all the things that I learned moving forward.
We used to have it all, but now's our curtain call. So hold for the applause, oh, 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 oh. And wave out to the crowd, and take our final bow. Oh, it's our time to go, but at least we stole the show. 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 At least we stole the show.